Welcome to Home Care, Doors Open, where we discuss licensing, operations, and scaling your home care business. Whether you're just opening your doors or looking to unlock new doors to growth and success, this podcast is for you. Let's begin.
Hello, everybody. This is Lucas Carroll with the Business of Senior Care, back with another episode of Home Care Doors Open. Today, super excited to welcome another guest on the podcast, Regina Asuncion, who is the owner and CEO of Ascension Business Solutions. Welcome, Regina.
Hi, Lucas. Hi, everyone. Super honored to be here. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We're very, very honored to have you on the podcast today for our viewers to learn about your services and just this idea of recruiting wonderful talent for home care agencies. I'd like to start, maybe if you wouldn't mind sharing with us and the viewers just kind of what your business is and what solutions that you can provide to home care agencies.
Great. Well, Ascension Business Solutions provides virtual assistants that are very specific to home care and health care agencies. So our virtual assistants are highly trained in the specific roles that you may need them for in your agency. So for example, if you needed help with recruiting, scheduling, on-call, intake, sales assistant, those we provide very, very detailed, thorough training programs for our virtual assistants. So by the time they come to you, they have a solid foundation of what they need to do. Because as you guys know, as startup companies or in the very early stages of your company, you might not have a lot of time to train one person from the ground up. So that's what we do, is we take some of that off your plate and provide you with wonderful, reliable, professional virtual assistants that can help your company grow.
Awesome. It's a wonderful service that you provide. I'm curious, how did you come up with the idea to start this business?
That's a good question, Lucas. So actually, I've been in healthcare since 2008. My family and I had a home health and hospice agency for 11 years here in Denver, Colorado, where we're from. And once we sold that company, I was hired again to start another home health and hospice agency in Denver. But unfortunately, this time we started it right in the middle of the pandemic. And you guys all know how crazy that time was. Things were getting shut down, people were disappearing. It was just very chaotic. And where does that leave people like us, owners and operators? Well, that means that everything falls back onto your plate. That means that every problem is yours to solve. You're on call every night, weekend, and holidays. And it went on like that for a long time, where I couldn't find anyone that wanted to work. And my husband was watching me just wither away. I was pretty depressed and also had a lot of anxiety at the same time, trying to start a company. And I remember we went to Dollywood for vacation. He pulled me away from all of it, and he was like, "Babe, we have to go do something with our family." So before I left to Dollywood, I trained a scheduler for 3 weeks. I trained this young woman. I poured my heart and soul into training her so I could take a break. But unfortunately, it wasn't really going well. She was calling me nonstop, texting me nonstop, just a flood of questions. And I remember very specifically, I was just walking down Dollywood, and she texted me, "Hey, Regina, going to lunch." And she never came back. And I ended up just being so sad and disappointed, and just like, why does this keep happening? And I got back from that trip and I said, something has to change. I need to change something. How this can't be the reality for owners and operators. And so that's why I started my company. I wanted to think outside the box. And what we came up with is that in a lot of these countries, other countries like the Philippines, where most of my virtual assistants are from, there's so many people that are highly educated that want to work, but there's not a lot of opportunities. And then here in the States, we have so many opportunities, but again, it's so hard to find quality talent. And so for the past 3 years, we've been bridging that gap.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing. The different roles, can you tell us a little about how when you're working with a team member that you look to place with a home care agency, and there's scheduling, there's HR, there's virtual assistant. What does that look like for like getting them an individual familiar with a specific type of role?
So we realized that, again, time is so precious when it comes to starting and growing your company. A lot of times we're spread so thin. And so we took it upon ourselves to create these highly specific training programs. So, for example, recruiting is probably the number one thing that we do for home care owners right now, because the turnover rate for caregivers is about 81%, meaning 81% of your current caregivers are going to leave within the next 60 to 90 days. So, what is your strategy to fill that pipeline of caregivers? And in-house, it's not the most fun, glamorous job. It's so repetitive. It requires so many touch points. And so what we did again is we provide a lot of that training. So whether you use Access Care or WellSky, SwiftOps, CareTime, we know how to use those systems. If you use Indeed, MyCNA Jobs, LinkedIn, Career Plug, we know how to use those platforms. We even know how to use, and we can recommend AI programs that will help your recruiter be even more efficient. But not just the technology side, we teach them soft skills, how to interview appropriately. So if someone says, hey, I have 10 years of experience in dementia, our VAs can ask questions. Well, what would you do if someone was sundowning? What would you do if your client is refusing to take their medications, right? So we're teaching them based off of the best practices that we've seen in the past 3 years. So you're hiring not just a virtual assistant, but you're hiring this collective knowledge of, again, best practices. Let's say it's scheduling. Scheduling is so nuanced. And so even though we train our virtual assistants on our end, we also have a very streamlined approach to onboarding your VAs. And it's being facilitated by a success manager on our end, because not everyone has used a virtual assistant before, right? And sometimes you're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to begin. We've identified that that's a barrier to entry as well. So we have solved that via the success manager, and they're going to handhold both your team and my team so that way we integrate very quickly. Our onboarding process is about 2 weeks and 2 to 3 weeks. But another thing that we're really good at, Lucas, is that we're very process oriented. And I'm sure you will appreciate this because you're a policy and procedure kind of guy. And so in those 2 weeks, when you're transferring that knowledge to us, we're documenting it first. We're building standard operating procedures for every single role that you put us in. And what that does is it allows us to align with your expectations, with your policies and procedures soon. I'm talking about 2 to 3 weeks. We can hand over detailed SOPs back to you and your team. And not just aligning, but it takes out the guessing work, right? If it's black and white, if A happens, then you're supposed to do B, then there's no guessing work. It minimizes the amount of mistakes that are going to happen, and it really streamlines operations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I, I'm curious on your thoughts for somebody who's never done this before, never brought on a virtual assistant or in a specific role or at all, and they may have some hesitation on what the process looks like. It's a person that is could be far away. Can you help? What are some of the common things that you talk through and people getting comfortable, more and more comfortable of using a virtual assistant or a different type of role with your organization?
Great question. We see a lot of hesitation all the time, but I want to say that using technology and virtual assistants is, I would say, it is technology, right? You have to be an early adopter. Being an innovative leader is what going to set you apart from your competition. So many people are so hesitant to try different things, but sometimes we have to ask ourselves, why are we doing it this way to begin with? Who made that up? And I say that the early adopters, the innovators, they're the ones that are going to succeed and thrive in this highly, highly competitive industry. So some of the biggest concerns is, well, what do they sound like, right? Well, the virtual assistants that I hire, they have to have excellent communication skills, meaning, first of all, we only hire people that have a bachelor's degree. And they have to go through high levels of training. We test them on aptitude, we test them on their IQ for them to even make it through our vetting process. But Lucas, let's say you wanted to hire someone. You wanted an executive assistant, someone to help you manage your emails and calendar and help set meetings up and follow through with all the your to-do list. Well, what I would do is I would send you our 3 most qualified virtual assistants that meet your criteria. And you can hear and see what they sound like. So we send you intro videos so you can actually hear and see what they sound like. And if you wanted to meet them, then we could set up a meet and greet. Like if you're torn between applicant A and applicant C, then we could send you, set up a meet and greet. Another concern is, again, well, how will they understand my company? It's so complicated. Well, it is pretty complicated. But again, documenting and capturing SOPs is our rebuttal to that concern. If we can show you that we get it, if we can show you that we understand it, and you can see that, okay, there really are 12 steps to my recruiting process, and you have it all written down, then you'll trust us. Because I think that's what it comes down to, is trust, right? You quit your corporate job to start this company, and you've poured your heart and soul into it. You're taking time away from your husband and your kids to do this company. And you want to know, if I give you my baby, Regina, if I let you hold my baby, please don't drop it, right? And so that's how we do it. We're very excellent at creating SOPs. But another thing that we're excellent at is communication and documentation. And this goes back to me having, home health and hospice agency. I remember in our bullpen, it said, if you didn't document it, it didn't happen. It's ingrained in my head. So I teach that to my virtual assistants. I teach them I say, hey, in your end of day reports, literally write every single thing that you have done for your specific role. How many interviews did you do? What are the results? How many no-call, no-shows? How many shifts did you fill? How many outbound calls did you do to fill that shift? How many inbound calls? Did you take any intake calls? And how many of those were you able to convert into an in-home assessment? And so as owners, they love the end of day reports. They might not read it from front start to end, but they love seeing what they're paying for. They love seeing the value, and they love seeing that it's getting done. You're taking care of my baby.
Absolutely. And um, the individuals, like really with technology, and you would know the best. It's really, the individual could be in the next room, or they could be on the other side of the globe, and still be able to perform with excellence in their role. I mean, are you seeing that, like, for a person an agency that signs on with you, once they get over the hump, to be like, oh my gosh, it really doesn't matter that much if they're right here or if they're somewhere else, as long as they're performing in the role.
Exactly. I think it comes down to connectivity, right? If you feel connected to someone, it does, like you said, it doesn't matter if they're in the next room or in another continent. And so, our virtual assistants, they're amazing at saying even just the small things of saying, hi, good morning, Lucas, clocking in. Good night, Lucas, thanks for today, clocking out. If there's things that are happening throughout the day, then we have a VoIP system. We use Ring Central, and we can program it to be a Colorado number, California number, New York, Hawaii. And so that way they're so connected. You can text them, call them, leave them voicemails. And if you need anything, they're just a call, text, Zoom away. But we also have tracking systems in place too. We'll tell our clients like, hey, we should have KPIs for this. We should have tracking systems for this. We should have forms and templates, and here's a good quota for your VAs. So we're bringing a lot of structure to whatever role that you put us in. We don't want to just be simply just checking off boxes that you've given us. We want to say, hey, maybe we should try using this system, or let's do this, or let's do that. And so we're really just trying to bring structure to the game.
Awesome. How about if you're an existing agency and you're maybe have concerns about integration with your team? So if you have an existing team and then maybe you're growing and you want to add a second scheduler or a virtual assistant or something like that, what have you seen or helped for agencies that just have some initial concerns about integrating a virtual assistant, a team member with an existing team?
That's again another great question, because honestly, how your team perceives us can make or break the relationship. So you're the owner, you go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You get these qualified, trained professionals that are ready to work. And the price point, it's like a no-brainer. But then you bring it in-house, you bring it to your team. You bring it to your team, and your team sees us as a threat. What that team will do is then they will block us. They won't support us. They won't answer our questions. They will, sometimes I've even seen them try to sabotage the VA. So I think as an owner, it is your responsibility to ensure that that specifically does not happen. Even if you get, sometimes they'll say, well, I can't understand a single thing that they're saying. Sometimes as the owner, you have to say, well, I've personally interviewed them and I think their English is perfect. Just like how you're speaking English, they're speaking English. So there has to be this partnership, this understanding, a culture of support and excellence. But once we can get past that initial hesitation, and sometimes you have to be like, guys, you've been telling me for months that you're overwhelmed. You've been telling me for months that you're stretched too thin. You've been telling me for months that you have no work-life balance. Well, I found you a solution. So with that solution, I need your help to make it happen. And again, so once you get past that initial hesitation, that initial hump of, of fear, maybe what it is, then it's all about, again, the onboarding process. Our success manager is going to hold your team and my team accountable. We're going to say, hey, for the first week, we need 2 hours of your day each day, and we're going to go over in a very systematic way of how to onboard, let's say, a scheduler or a recruiter. And our success manager is going to give the owner's feedback and saying, hey, it's been going really, really well. Every single day, they're going to have a recap of what they did. But if there's any problems that we're going to foresee or that we can foresee, we're going to address that. We teach at the very beginning of our onboarding, we teach what we call a tight feedback loop, right? If you tell us that there's something wrong, we're going to fix it right away. We're going to look if it's a process problem or a person problem. Either way, we're going to fix it on our end, and then we're going to tell you how we fixed it. And then you're going to give us more feedback if it was properly addressed or not. And that feedback loop is so important for us to integrate with your team fast.
Absolutely. That's such good stuff, Regina. I was thinking, both from your personal experience and just sharing successes from agencies you work with. On the other side of it, after an agency brings on an individual, and then they see this success in terms of delegation and freeing up their time and doing the things that they really that are that they're trying that they set out to do when they're looking for an individual. Share some, if you don't mind, share some successes on what that looks like, what the feedback that you've gotten, what that feels like as a the owner of a company having an individual in place in a role like that.
So I do a mastermind called the Art of Delegation. And what that says is that as owners, as the top tier management, we have to be so disciplined with our time. We have to be so disciplined with our time and our resources because, to be honest with you, Jeff Bezos and his workers, they all have 24 hours. But how we use our time is so important. Also, because home care, home health, it's a marathon. You have to have the capacity to endure a marathon, but you can't do that if you're stuck doing every single thing, right? And sometimes that's a mindset shift that we have to have is saying, I need to find the people that can do it better, faster, and with more passion than me. Because as you mentioned, Lucas, why did you get into home care? Why did you start a home health agency? Is it so you could do recruiting or payroll or invoice? Probably not. And so once you've kind of learned how to do it yourself, it's so important to build a team underneath you. And that team has to be process oriented, right? People and processes is what scales companies. Working on your own, working nonstop is only going to get you so far. It's going to probably get you burnt out and heart problems, to be honest. But really building that team underneath you is so important. Delegating. And part of the art of delegation is, again, having that mindset shift that my time as the owner is so valuable and it should only go towards the hardest problems that no one else can solve. Like, for example, creating a culture, one of the hardest things to do. Making sure that you're compliant, making sure that your team and your clinicians and your caregivers are all aligned to meeting the goals that you have set out, strategizing. Those are things that should only take up your time. And then once you delegate it, whether it's virtual assistants or an in-house person, the idea is you have to delegate. Managing your expectations, right? And trying to stay away from these limiting beliefs of only I can do it. It's going to be faster if I do it. No one's going to do it like I do it. So those are limiting beliefs that are holding you down. Just being aware of them is such a good step forward. But then again, managing your expectations, knowing that people are going to make mistakes. But mistakes is part of the process. Failure is like a prerequisite to success. And you can't have success without failure. And understanding and giving that grace to your in-house team or your virtual assistant. And also, again, just going back, where was the gap? Was it a gap in training? Is there a gap in our process? What's happening? And how can we make sure that it doesn't happen again? But the art of delegation is based off of several different books, and I would recommend to your audience one of the best books. It's called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. It's such a game changer that I feel like I read it twice a year.
And that's all about, to what you're saying, just that focusing as the owner of the company on the most high level activities.
Exactly. And like, have you heard the 80-20 principle?
Yeah.
It's very similar to that. You know, an astonishing 80% of our results come from just 20% of our efforts. And so if we can just focus on our 20%, maximizing how we use our 20%, then our results are going to be tremendous.
Absolutely, absolutely, perfect, Regina. I think that's a perfect place to wrap up here. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and the background on your business. And I think, for our audience, if you're thinking of, what does that look like for hiring a virtual assistant, for even the delegation part, what you're speaking about is just so important, of that you don't, as the owner, you don't have to do everything, and that there's a world that exists where you can focus on the most ROI activities, and you can have somebody that you can help to place with this agency that has trained in the role, has SOPs that can step in and make really a difference for a home care, home health agency.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your time, and I greatly appreciate all the knowledge that you shared today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
If you found this conversation valuable, please leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Business of Senior Care. We'll see you next time on Home Care. Doors open.